Hi, I'm Kitse and this is the fourth tutorial in the Learning Sizzy tutorial series. If you haven't watched the previous ones and you don't want any spoilers, go watch them now and then you can come back to this video. Today we're going to learn about Sizzy Projects and why did we build this feature called Sizzy Projects. As you can see, in the previous videos I described the rest of the UI, everything in the toolbar, everything in the workspace, everything in the debugging panel, which is here. Now we're going to focus only on what is going on in here. First thing I'm going to do, I'm going to right click and customize this toolbar so I can show you that I actually, in address bar, I've disabled two of the icons, which we're going to discuss later. So I disabled the URL editor, the page info, and the rest of the icons. If you want, you can just drag them around or hide them if you're not planning to use any of these icons. So, Sizzy Projects. I'm going to click on the pop-up because it's kind of self-explanatory. When I click on the pop-up, you will see all the projects that I have on disk. So it's just a little bit behind the reason why we built this feature in is when usually as a front-end developer you're working on multiple projects at once. Some of them are open source. You can see I have some things from my live streams, I have some things regarding Sizzy, I have some open source things, I have some labs projects regarding my workshop, and so on and so forth. So usually you have a lot of projects on disk, and there's no way to properly organize them. You can either organize them on disk, you can put them in folders and whatever, but it's never a really nice way to organize them and quickly like navigate to the project, open a URL, open it in File Explorer, open it in Editor. You can see as I hover here, I can quickly open it in File Explorer or open it in Editor. This is a really nice way to organize all of your projects on disk, but that's only step one. This feature goes really deep into how to organize your projects and how to easily switch between projects without doing too many things, opening another browser, and so on and so forth. So let's go step by step. These are all of my projects here. What I'm gonna do is, first of all, I'm gonna activate a project, so I can do that from the pop-up, and I'm gonna jump into Kitse blog. So pay attention, right now we're in the responsive mode, but I've configured Kitse blog that anytime I navigate to Kitse blog, it's gonna change the URL to my blog URL, and it's also gonna switch the view to full mode. So what's gonna happen is, as if I'm clicking on full mode like this, but each project can be connected to a particular view mode in Sizzy. So depending on the project, whether you need responsive design, you don't need responsive design, and so on, you can just jump to a particular view. So when I click on Kitse blog, the project is going to be activated. So this icon is going to change here. I click on Kitse blog, you can see the URL changed to kitse.io, the view changed, and here I'm getting active project Kitse blog, which means now when I'm in an active project, I'm going to get different bookmarks that are tied to this project. So you can see that these are the bookmarks for my blog. Then I can click any bookmark, so I can go to, I don't know, I think these are old. Honestly, these are old bookmarks because I've imported this project's config from very old Sizzy config. Anyway, doesn't matter. If I click here, I'm going to change this URL. The page cannot be found. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to switch again. Reference browser, I'm going to get into that soon because that takes some time to explain. Next up, we have to-dos. So in every project, I can manage my to-dos. So when I quickly think of something while working on the project, I can just add a to-do here and I can say add something. I don't even know what I have here. These are probably super old. Change bio, social media icons. These are old. So what I'm going to do, I can start deleting them, or I can clear the completed, or I can reorder them. I can hide the completed, show the completed, clear the completed to-dos. And I'm basically going to delete all of the to-dos. So every project can be connected to its own to-dos. Like, I'm not saying that you should manage your entire project in Sizzy, but when you quickly think of something, you're like, oh, I need to do that, fix the header. Instead of jumping to a project management tool and back, you can just do that in Sizzy. Next up, we have notes. So each project can have notes, and notes can be used for storing some code snippets, some dummy credentials, or stuff that you want to quickly paste. So I can have like lorem ipsum something here. And anytime I need to access this note, I can just go to notes and I can quickly copy it to clipboard and I can paste it whenever I need to paste it. So you can have some credentials, some passwords. I mean, don't store sensitive information here because the Sizzy config is not encrypted or anything. But you can store some things that you want, some dummy data that you want to use while working on this project. So I can click on this. If I have some password like super secret unicorn password, I can just protect the note. I can log the note. I can still copy it to clipboard, but I'm not going to show it. So if I'm doing a live stream or anything, the note won't be shown. I can quickly copy it to clipboard. A little tip, because I said I'm going to make a separate video on all the Butler commands, but you can add to-dos and notes through Butler. So Butler connected with project is a very powerful feature. You can invoke Butler with Command-Shift-P and on macOS and Control-Shift-P on Windows and Linux. And here I can just say to-do, fix, footer, color, enter. So this is going to add this to to-do. So when I add this, it's going to be added here, fix, footer, color. And I can do the same thing for notes. So I can say note, lorem ipsum something color thingy. I don't know what I'm writing here. So in the notes, I'm going to get this note. I can also search my notes through Butler. So if I say I have lorem ipsum here, I can just do lorem ipsum. And you can see that I have 2 of my active notes and I can easily press enter to copy them to clipboard. Little Butler tip, let's not move too far away from the project and let's go back to the rest of the icons. Next up, we have edit project, which allows me to edit the project from here. So if I click here, we're going to see that this is the title of my project. This is the emoji that I'm using, in which group it belongs. You can see I have a lot of groups like React Academy, Experiments, Livestream, Sizzy, so on and so forth. And I'm going to show you the rest of this when we create an actual project. As I said, I'm not going to go in the reference browser right away. Let's switch again. So I'm going to switch to Sizzy landing maybe. This is going to go to sizzy.co, still in full mode. And you can see here that I have different bookmarks for Sizzy. I have a production bookmark, I have a dev bookmark. I can easily switch between production. I can easily switch between localhost and production. I have 0 to-dos here. I have 0 notes for the Sizzy project. So if I want, I can add some to-dos for the Sizzy project and I can add some notes for the Sizzy project. So now when I'm switching between this project, Sizzy landing and Kitsa blog, like the URL is going to change, the to-dos are going to change, the notes are going to change, the bookmarks going to change. So you can think in terms of, instead of having a bunch of folders with a bunch of bookmarks and stuff, when you switch to a project, you get all of your bookmarks, to-dos and notes that you need for this project. Pro tip, you can also switch projects through Butler. So what I can do is I can do Sizzy landing, and here it's going to let me to activate Sizzy landing, which is going to switch the project. And I think I can deactivate. Yeah, so when I deactivate, there's no active project and I can quickly switch Kitsa blog. This is going to switch to Kitsa blog. So everything is faster when you do it through the Butler, because you can just quickly type what you want and you can switch projects. With switching the project, everything else is going to switch, like bookmarks, to-dos and notes. So let me deactivate Kitsa blog and let's create a new project so I can show you how that looks like. So I'm going to click manage projects. I'm going to click create new project. We can create a project group here. So let's just show this. Let's just call this tutorial projects, because I'm recording a tutorial right now. I can choose the color for the project and I can choose whether it's going to be protected or not, because there's some projects that I'm working on that I don't want to reveal on stream or whatever by mistake. So we added this feature. If you want to protect your projects and nobody can see their name and so on, you need to lock them and unlock them. So I'm going to say this is not protected. I'm going to click save. And here I'm going to have tutorial projects. So I can create a project in this group. Let's just call this tutorial demo. And of course, for the project, you can choose emoji. So you can choose, I don't know, let's just choose some building or something. This is going to be our tutorial demo. This is the group that it belongs into. And now the interesting thing is I can choose a view, which is we're going to switch to this view anytime we activate this project. So I can switch to whether I want to be in responsive view, whether I want to be in focus view, resizable view, full. They're basically called modes. So calling this view is a little bit confusing, but here we have responsive mode, focus mode, resizable mode, full mode, and photo mode, but you can also switch to a particular preset. So before I, let's just go with responsive mode before I show you how you can switch to a preset. If you click none, the view is not going to switch. So when you navigate to this project, the view is not going to switch. So I'm going to go with responsive here. And the alignment is going to be center. So anytime I navigate to tutorial demo, I'm going to switch to responsive with align. Didn't I choose center? Okay, center. Next step. Next up, we have the links. So what is the main link that we want to open when navigating and when activating this project? So I'm going to say that I want to go to the development link, which is going to be localhost 3000 something. And now I can add additional bookmarks. So bookmarks are the things that I showed you here, this pop-up. So I'm going to say that in production, maybe I want to go, let's say, to Kitsa.io and maybe, I don't know, videos. It's going to be kitsa.io/videos. So these are going to be URLs that I want to easily navigate to while working on this project. And now one of the most powerful features that we have regarding projects is called reference links. So these are all the URLs that you would need to reference while working on this project. For example, I might have my repo. So I'm going to do github.com /, I don't know, Twizzle landing, let's say. Or I want to have my deployment. So I'm going to go netlify.com /, Twizzle landing. That's probably not a real link. And what else can I have? Maybe I need a particular set of documentation. So I'm going to say React, which is going to be reactjs.org. And you can add a bunch of links here, or you can always add them later. So let's just move on. These are the bookmarks that I want to switch to, and these are the links that I want to reference. So I'm going to click next. And last, if you want, you can choose a project folder on disk along with a code editor. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to click on project folder. I'm going to switch into web dev here. And now I'm going to choose one of my projects. So I'm going to choose AutoGrid on disk. You can see that I'm using WSL, Ubuntu. So you can even open folders that are in Ubuntu in Windows. So I'm going to choose the code editor. So which code editor do I want this project to open in? By default, we have a couple of code editors. You can also add your own code editor. So I'm going to go with Visual Studio Code here, which is the default one. So you can have a global default code editor, and you can also choose per project, because you have some backend project, you might want to open it, I don't know, in PHP Storm, and some front-end project, you want to open it in Visual Studio Code, and some database project, you want to open it in some other tool. So you can always add you can see that Visual Studio Code is the default one. Or I can choose a particular editor from here. So I'm going to click finish. And now we're going to get this project in the tutorial project. You can see I have tutorial demo, and I can open it in File Explorer. I can open it in Editor, or I can click to navigate, to activate the project. So we can switch from here. So I'm going to search here tutorial demo, and I'm going to click on the project, which is going to activate the project. So you see the mode switched because we chose responsive mode, and we chose the center align. So when I switch between this and the Kitsa blog, you're going to see the URL is going to switch and the view is going to switch. So now here I'm getting like full mode, but if I switch back to tutorial demo, this is going to jump back into this view. So these, I explained in the previous video, if you haven't watched it, these are all the possible view modes in Sizzy. You can have responsive mode, you can have full mode, you can have resizable mode, and so on and so forth. But one even more powerful thing that we have, which I explained in a previous video, is presets. So I can switch to a funky layout, I can switch to minimalistic layout, I can switch to iPhones, I can switch to Samsung. You can create your own device presets. And one powerful thing is you can connect a project to a preset. So when I navigate to Kitsa blog, I'm also going to activate one of these presets. So I can, while I'm working on my blog, maybe I need a particular set of devices in a particular view. So I can easily do that. Let me just edit this project, tutorial demo. I'm going to edit it from here. And I'm going to say, instead of switching to responsive view, switch to a preset. And the preset is going to be funky layout. So I'm going to update this one. So now when I go to Kitsa blog, I'm going to switch to this full layout. When I go into tutorial demo, we're going to switch to these presets. So with the switching of a project, you can switch a lot of things. So that makes it easy, so you can jump between different projects while also switching your to-dos, bookmarks, notes, and the view that you're looking at in Sizzy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in manage projects, and I'm going to take Kitsa blog. I'm going to edit this one to switch to a preset, and the preset it's going to be minimalistic. So I'm going to click update. So now let's switch. I'm going to be in tutorial demo. I'm going to click Kitsa blog. This is what I get. And when I switch, you can see that my blog is not really performant. Am I ashamed of that? Kinda, yes. I need to sit down and work on it, but there's too many things to work on. Anyway, let me switch back to tutorial demo. Click this. You're going to see the view is going to switch, and the active project now is going to be tutorial demo. It even takes time to exit from my blog. Like, it's that slow that it takes time to load it and then to unload it. That's performance on the next level. All right, so we are in tutorial demo. We created this project, and you can see that now I have the bookmarks, so I can switch to any of these bookmarks. I'm not going to click these two because they're slow. So I'm going to go to, I don't know, let's go to what would make sense. Well, I don't know. Here usually you would have links that you would load while working on your page. So you don't want to load the React documentation here, and you don't want to load any other reference link here. This is usually going to be, let's just go to localhost 5000 or something. So in localhost 5000, that's not going to work, of course, but I'm going to bookmark it, and I'm going to say this is my articles bookmark. So I'm going to click this, bookmark this, and here I'm going to have articles. So I can easily switch between dev, and I can easily switch between articles. And you guessed it, you can also do this through Butler. So you can do articles, and this is going to tell you, it's going to give you an action, open bookmark articles, press enter, you're going to switch to that. Go dev. Well, actually you're not going to be able bookmark. Oh, there it is. If you search for bookmark dev, you can easily switch between these two bookmarks. So I'm leaving the best for last. So I'm leaving I'm intentionally skipping the reference browser. So I want to show you that one last. Let's see what else do we have here. While I have an active project tutorial demo, I can open it in File Explorer. So if I click this, it's going to open in File Explorer, or if you're on macOS, on Linux, you're going to open your Finder or whatever Linux is using. And if I click open in editor, this is going to quickly open VS Code with my project right here. So I can also do that for other projects. So if I want to see one of my other projects, I don't know which one had, because as I said, this is not my real work machine, and this is not my real, okay, React Academy landing has File Explorer and editor. So through Butler, you can do React Academy editor. So you can easily like open another project, open React Academy landing in editor while you're in another project. So that makes it quickly like, while I'm working on this, let me just reference some code from another project. So instead of finding it on disk and so on, you can just easily search it, and you can open it in the editor here. I showed you the File Explorer, I showed you the editor. You can do that through these icons here. So you can just go in the pop-up, and you can just click open in editor, open in File Explorer for any of these projects that have it. And while you're in an active project, you can do it from here. And the third way is through Butler. So you can do Kitse blog. So you see for Kitse blog, I don't have an editor, but for React Academy landing, I have a lot of options. So I can activate it and open it in editor. So if I want to switch to a project and open it in the code editor at the same time, which is something that you want to do, right? You're like, hey, let me work on my blog. So you want to switch to that URL and also open the code editor. You can do all of these actions through Butler. All right, as I said, I'm saving the best for last. If you remember, when we created this project, we added some reference links. So those were the links that I quickly want to reference while working on this project. So the thing is, when you work in Sizzy, we don't want you to open another browser, not because we don't want you to leave Sizzy and just use another browser. The entire idea is every time, personally me, when I worked on a project, I had to have another browser open so I can reference documentation and so on and so forth. So what we did is we kind of built another browser within Sizzy, but not because we don't want you to switch between two windows. Eventually you can also do that with the reference browser, but the reference browser will switch all of its tabs based on the project that you're working on. So while I'm working on tutorial demo, I'm going to get some tabs here. While I'm working on my blog, I'm going to get another set of tabs, which makes it really easy to switch between projects without opening a bunch of bookmarks, closing a bunch of bookmarks in a regular browser. So enough talking, let me show you the feature. I'm going to click on reference browser. This is going to open. And if you remember, I added these things. I added these three reference links when we created allow Netlify to access sensors. What kind of Netlify? What do you want from me? No, deny. Bad Netlify. So if you remember, when I created this project, I created these three reference links. You can see the purple tabs are actually the reference links. And these are the things that I would like to quickly reference while I'm working on a project. So let's say I'm working on this project and I need something from the React documentation. I can just quickly open the reference browser and I have the React documentation here. So if I switch, let me just quickly switch to, for example, Kitse blog. And I have, oh, no, that's a mistake. Opening it on multiple devices. A website that's slow, that's a mistake. So I'm going to click on reference browser and you're going to see here, I have other things. I have the TypeScript docs, I have Graph CMS, and I have the Chakra documentation because these are the links that I need while working on my blog. So if I switch back to tutorial demo, I'm going to click again. And when I open the reference browser, I have different things here. I have React, I have my deployment, and I have my repo. So usually for every project that I have on disk in my real project, I have the repo connected and the deployment connected. So when I want to see is my deployment ready and whatever, I don't have to open another browser and a tab and whatever. I can just switch to my project. I can open my reference browser and I can check the deployment, whether the site is deployed and so on and so forth. So this is an actual browser within Sizzy. So you can also open new tabs. You can see I can just search for something, search for Vue.js, and this is going to go, and you can just use it as a normal browser. But as soon as you find something, like, I don't know, let's say that we need this V model and I want to keep this as part of the project, I can just go here in this menu and I can save it as a reference link. So if I save it as a reference link and I'm going to say Vue docs, this is going to be pinned. You're going to see that it turned purple. So this is not a regular tab. So now every time I switch to this project, I'm also going to get the Vue docs here. So I can have a bunch of temporary tabs. These are like normal temporary tabs. You can create as many tabs as you want. You can search a bunch of things, but these are temporary. And temporary means if you ever reset the browser, which you can do here, these tabs are going to disappear. So basically when when you clutter your browser with a bunch of tabs and you're like, I don't need most of them anymore. Instead of closing them one by one, what you can do here is you can click reset, which this is going to reset the browser to show only the reference links that you have saved for this particular project. I really hope that this clicks with you and it makes sense, because once you get into this flow, it's like it will save you a lot of time. Instead of constantly using Sizzy and another browser on the side, you can just switch projects, and your projects are also going to switch the tabs and so on and so forth. As you can see, I also have other tabs here. So you might be wondering what in the world is going on here. These are called like global pin tabs. Let's call them pin tabs because that's their name. These tabs are going to stay here across projects. So when I switch between my projects, let's say I always want to have, let me just unpin this because these are not realistic examples. I don't want to have this. I don't want to have this. I don't want to have this. So these are some things like Lodash, Chakra, React, and layout style components that I might need in every project that I'm working on. So regardless if I'm in Kitsa blog or React Academy landing, let me just switch to React Academy landing. I think that's more performant than my blog. So here, if I click on reference browser, you're going to see that the links have changed here. I have my Trello, my GitHub, my deployment, but the links on the side stay the same. So let's say that we want to pin another link. So I'm going to search for Vue docs. And in Vue docs, I'm gonna, instead of saving it as a reference link for this project, I'm gonna pin this. So I'm gonna call this Vue docs, and you're gonna see it appearing on the left side here. So these are the Vue docs. So now as I'm switching between projects, I'll always have quick access to these tabs. But these tabs, the reference links are basically gonna change based on the project. So when I switch to tutorial demo, and I open the reference browser, you're going to see these tabs remain the same, but these tabs are different now. And as you're switching projects, your temporary tabs are going to stay there. So if you're in the middle of researching something, let's say that I'm searching something really important, like glass, that's really important search. If I switch between projects, these tabs are not going to disappear. The only way these tabs are going to disappear if you click reset, which basically is the same action as closing the tabs. So I can switch between projects again, React Academy landing, and I can have some other temporary tabs here. So temporary tabs, temporary tabs, temporary tabs. So the gray tabs are temporary. The purple tabs are pinned for the project only. We call them reference links. And these tabs on the side are called pin tabs, and they're going to be available across projects. So just pay attention when I have something here. Let's just search for, I don't know, React birthday. I don't know why would I search for that. I just want to show you the difference. Now when I switch between projects, when I go to my tutorial demo, and I open the reference browser again, you're going to see that we have the previous searches. So you can keep researching something about one project, then switch to another project. You have a different set of tabs. This basically saves you a lot of time because you don't have to constantly manage bookmarks, tabs, windows in whatever browser you would be using. Everything would be saved in here, and you wouldn't have to go out of Sizzy while you're doing development. As I said, the reference browser is a big feature, so it might take me a little bit more time to explain it. We have 6 minutes left, which is more than enough, I think. So I'm going to reset this again. So again, I'm going to get rid of the temporary tabs. So what I'm going to do here is if you don't want these tabs to be on the side, you can also get them as normal tabs. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on projects. I'm going to click on settings for projects, which you can also find in settings and project. And here I can choose my code editor. No need to dive into that one. You can figure it out on your own. And I think, no, in reference browser, there are a bunch of settings regarding the reference browser. So I can choose my search engine. So I can choose to search with DuckDuckGo or Bing. The option that I wanted to show you is the pin tabs can be shown vertically or can be shown horizontally. So I'm gonna uncheck that. I'm gonna go back in the reference browser, and now you're gonna see that the pin tabs are shown here. So I have my documentation like Lodash, Chakra, React.js, Vue.js, and so on. These are the global tabs, the pin tabs. These are the project tabs, the reference links. And when I switch my project to React Academy landing, you're gonna see that the pin tabs remain the same across projects, but these tabs are completely different. Even the temporary tabs. We have React birthday. Obviously, I cannot type birthday. So yeah, you can choose whether you want to show the pin tabs here or you want to show them on the side. Personally, I prefer to show them on the side, and I'm going to show you why. So if we open a lot of tabs here, like a lot of tabs, after a while, there's not going to be enough space. So what we do, well, obviously I have enough space, but we have 3 different ways to show this reference browser. 5 different ways to show this reference browser. So you might want to look at some documentation while you're working on your app. So you might want to have them side by side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this to the left, which is basically going to dock it. And now I can just resize this browser, the reference browser on the left side, while I'm working on my app. So I can keep working on my app here while referencing some documentation or a design that I have, and so on and so forth. But as you can see, because there's not enough space here, my tabs have turned into a select. Because having a select that you can easily just jump to a tab, it's easier than having a bunch of smaller tabs, you know, like in Google Chrome when you open 30,000 tabs and you can basically just see the favicons. That's not really, you cannot easily just find the tab that you need. So we turn this into a select. So one good thing that you can do here is instead of pinning the tabs, as I showed you here, you can move them to be vertical, and that way you have more space. So at least these tabs won't take any of your horizontal space. So I'm going to go in settings, reference browser, and I'm going to show them vertically. So now the pin tabs are going to show on the left. The project tabs are going to be here. The rest of the tabs, which I need to close because I opened too many, they're gonna be here. So now even if I dock the project to the left side, I'll have enough space for these tabs here, enough space for these tabs here, and I can just keep my reference browser on the left side without actually this turning into a select. If I resize this to be too narrow, you're gonna see it's gonna turn into a select. So now I have to use the select. Otherwise, if I have enough space, it can be we can actually see the tabs. So we have, as I said, we have a couple of positions for the reference browser. You can show it as a dialog. You can dock it to the left side. I think you can also show it as a dialog on the right side, which is like very rare, because when you show it on the left side, it's docked along with the devices, but when it's on the right side, it shows as a dialog. So you can just quickly open it, look at something, dismiss it, open it, look at something, dismiss it. And then the last one is if you have a lot of screen space, or if you have a second monitor, you can just take this reference browser and just undock it, which is going to pop it out as a separate window. So now if you want to, you can manage this as any window in Windows. You can just drag it around. You can move it to your second monitor. I don't know what happened there, Windows. Please don't do that. That's scary. Sizzy. Well, I guess when you shake a window in Windows, it just... What? Why? I don't know why, but Windows does that. So as you can see, I have the reference browser as a separate window now. And at any point, I can just split it side to side. I can move it to a second monitor, or if I want to bring it back, I can just click dock, which is going to dock the browser back. And you're going to see, if we just maximize this, you're going to see the reference browser appearing here. As you can see, we spend a lot of time on making this reference browser adjustable and customizable to however you want to use it. So we added all sorts of options. You want to put it on the left, on the right, in the center, on a separate monitor, whatever. Those are just details. The main point for you to get, especially if you're switching between a lot of projects, it's better to use the reference browser in Sizzy than to use a regular browser where you have to change all of your tabs and so on and so forth. I don't want to go... Okay, we are 29 minutes, so I can go for a couple more minutes just to make sure that I showed everything that we have in the reference browser. React birthday. So we have the icon here for saving this as a reference link. This is the same action as going here and saving it as a reference link. You can also open this in your regular default browser on disk if you want to have that. You can isolate the tabs. You can have like a separate session. This is like doing incognito, but it's per tab. So you can have one Netlify session when you're logged in as one user. You can have another Netlify session where you're logged in as another user. So you can just click isolate tab. This is basically going to turn this, you're going to see this blue dot. This is going to make this tab with an isolated session. So for example, you can have 5 different Trello accounts open in one browser without having different, you know, incognito windows and so on and so forth. So you can just isolate the session here. Pretty standard features here, hiding the name, closing the tab, or opening the browser, isolating the tab. I just want to make sure that I showed you everything here. I really hope so. Yeah, one last thing, one last pro tip with Butler. You can, as I said, you can easily switch between projects. So I can go tutorial demo, just activate it here. And while I'm in a project, I can just use the reference browser or any link that's in there. Let's find some link, reactjs.org or deployment. So I can just search in Butler for deployment, and this is going to give me a link, open deployment in reference browser, press enter, quickly jump to my deployment. So everything has been thought out in a way that you're gonna quickly switch to whatever you need while being in the context of the project that you're working on. We thought of every single possible way we can save you time while working on a project. You want to check your deployment, just quickly search for deployment. This is going to be the deployment for the project you're working on. You can quickly open that in the reference browser. You can also quickly search, so you can do something like search for, I don't know, Vue.js documentation, and you can switch search GitHub, an npm package, Stack Overflow, Google. I think it's better if I leave this power user Butler features in another video. Last thing I'm gonna do while wrapping this up, I'm gonna deactivate this project. And even if you don't have an active project, even if you're, let's say you're working on one thing and you don't need this feature at all, you can still use the reference browser, but this is going to be like a global reference browser. So you can just have, you can still save some reference links. You can have temporary tabs. You can have the pin tabs and so on and so forth. You can have global to-dos. You can have global notes, but these are not going to be tied to any project. They're just going to be global things that you're saving while you're not working on any project. And then when you activate a project, all of them are going to switch to, you can see the bookmarks, the to-dos, notes switched for this project. So when you don't have a project, you can still use all of these features, but you can imagine that they're part of like your global project. When I'm explaining this feature, because there's too many things that are going on, so you would have to explore it on your own. I hope that I made it at least a little bit clear about what's going on in projects. While I'm explaining this feature, I feel like that meme, in like that guy in the whiteboard that's trying to explain too many things, because this is like, once you get it, especially when you work with multiple projects, it's gonna save you a lot of time. So I probably have 2 more videos to record. If you like these videos, make sure to subscribe. If you watch this video, this entire video, you're a champion, because this is a really long video. And yeah, let me know what you thought in the comments, if this was clear and if you're planning to use this feature, and I'm gonna see you in the next one. Bye bye.